What is going on, guys? I am Paul Ryan, your host of the ATV Fantasy Show. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. And to my regular listeners, welcome back. With me tonight is a very special guest, host of the Once Upon a Sunday podcast, Tampa Bay Lightning fan, and wrestling aficionado. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Josh Kimmel to the show. Josh, how are you?
I am awesome. Thanks for having me on. This has been like a long time coming. We're always like interacting on Twitter, like, hey, you want to come on?
Yes.
I was like, all right, yes, book me, please. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
we finally found the time, man.
So wrestling aficionado, like, have you heard my wrestling podcast? Like, I'm not really good on history. I can't remember people's names. No.
Well, as somebody who still currently watches it regularly, watches it every week, I consider them an aficionado.
Oh yes. And it's not, I'm watching it right now as we're actually recording. I just put it on mute, but it's every night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Like it's just nonstop.
Really?
Yes,
It's like what WWE, AEW. There's no WCW anymore, right? I mean, what are the major wrestling networks?
So we have, WWE, they're Mondays and Tuesdays and Fridays. You have AEW, they're Wednesdays and Fridays. And then, of course, their pay-per-views are Saturdays and
Of course, yeah.
Sundays. And then there's like, the smaller ones like TNA, or they're called Impact Wrestling now.
Oh, okay.
New Japan Pro Wrestling. So there's a couple smaller ones out there, but right now it's AEW and WWE, and it's getting pretty wild.
Is AEW like what WCW used to be?
So they're on TBS, TNT, so they get that stigma of that's how Nitro was, and they are
Yeah.
competing with WWE, so they are getting a lot of comparisons. But no, this is a company made by indie wrestlers for indie wrestlers, like the young people, the Young Bucks and Kenny
Yeah,
Omega
yeah.
and Cody Rhodes. They all made it up. So it's an alternative. It's not, they don't call it competition, but it is. But it's nothing like WCW where Eric Bischoff or someone's trying to take WWE out of business. They're just
Yeah.
coexisting right now.
I got you, because it sounds like from the last year or so that AEW has been kind of the preferred network, while WWE is kind of stuck in the past, and AEW is kind of the new thing. Better storylines, better wrestlers to root for, kind of just a different thing, and all its own.
More adult, more edgy, more fun, just new. When you get something new,
Right.
it's just, you get a new iPhone. It's the same thing. iPhone 12, iPhone 13, whatever, but it's new. So it's
Yeah.
cool for like that first whatever time it is. And then it just becomes your phone, right?
Right.
So that's how this AEW's been. It's like, oh, it was new, but now, okay, we're settled in 3-4 years in. Okay, now it's just another wrestling show that we watch Wednesday nights.
I hear you. Well, Josh, before we get into our football discussion tonight, where can the people find you on Twitter?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter, Josh Kimmel OUS, where I just spew nonsense about wrestling, the Lightning, and fantasy football. Literally, that's all. I mean, I say some dumb stuff, but I don't take it too seriously. But you can catch me there, Josh Kimmel OUS. I'm there once in a while.
Yes, sir. Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. I'm curious, Josh, you're a host of the podcast Once Upon a Sunday. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
It's just a fantasy football podcast that me and my buddy Dave decided to put on. I always wanted to be just talking into a microphone as a child. Like I really did grow. I went to a couple of schools trying to do this. I didn't really want
Oh,
to,
really? Okay.
well, just like the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Then I looked into college to see what I can do there. I was always in TV production as a high schooler. And I just never followed through with it. And then one year, I'll never forget, I'm just like, I'm going to do a podcast and nothing's going to stop me. Why not? Like, I have it. I have internet.
Yeah.
I have a computer. I can learn how to edit. So we just threw it together, me and my buddy Dave. And it's been going on for 4 years now. We've had some good times. We joined a network. We had sponsors.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah. So it's like, it's up and down. It's just fun.
So what network are you guys part of?
We're part of the Say It Again network. We met these guys. I think we met these guys definitely on Twitter. Dave actually went on one of their shows, and then they just became friends. And then like, hey, we don't have a fantasy football show. Do you guys want to join? We're like, yeah, why not? It's cool to network with new people. So good people over there at the Say It Again network.
Very cool. Well, Josh, I found out recently that you're a fan of the Miami Dolphins. Can you talk to us about what you're expecting for the upcoming season? And are you excited for the upcoming season?
Man, fan is such a term with me, as in I do support the Tampa Bay Lightning. I do support the Miami Dolphins. You know what I mean? Like,
right. You're a supporter.
I'm a supporter. I
Okay.
enjoy watching them. If they win or they lose, it doesn't. In the end, grand scheme of things, I'm okay with it. Used to tear me
Right.
apart. I used to hate Mondays after the Dolphins win, or whatever. Josh, 10 years ago, when the Lightning lost the Stanley Cup final, a month ago, I would have been crying for 4 months. But I'm excited for this offense, like Tyreek with Waddle with Tua. Like this is it. Like this is gonna be an exciting year, especially since the AFC East is kind of like wide open, except for Buffalo. But Buffalo can be beat, not by the Dolphins. Josh Allen owns us, so it doesn't really matter. But it's just gonna be a fun year, and I'm excited to see this new offense.
Yeah, I am
They
too.
can win. Yeah, they can win 10 games. They could win 3 games. I just want to see some fun offense.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be this pretty disappointing if that offense doesn't come together, especially when you look at the moves that you guys made, especially at the head coaching. With the head coach, I'm excited to see what they have in store. Hopefully, Tua can put it all together this year.
He kind of has to at this point. He has no excuses. I mean, he had Fitzpatrick behind him. That was his excuse. Flores didn't back him. That was his excuse. Like, there's no more excuses. You got Tyreek. You have Waddle. You have Kaseki. You have all these offenses. You even have Cedric Wilson, who's a very good third receiver.
Oh yes, sir.
You have Chase Evans back there. You can catch passes. Like you have Sony Michel who could bang the ball up the middle. Like this offense relies on Tua to just be competent. Just be a the 13th best quarterback or just be the 14th best quarterback, and this team should hum. This team should put up 25, 30 points a game.
Well, I'm curious. Well, we're going to go off the show sheet here, but were you excited when Miami drafted Tua, or were you hoping maybe for Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow? What were your thoughts there?
At that point, it was Tua because it's always
Okay.
been Tua. It was always Tua. Tank for
Tank
Tua.
for Tua.
Yes, it was always Tua. So I said, all right, we're going in with Tua. I'm totally okay with this. I wasn't, Joe Burrow was probably not realistic because he was going to be the first pick overall anyway. And
Yeah.
Herbert, I was kind of questionable on. Like, I didn't know if he was going to succeed in the NFL, and we were totally wrong. But Tua has always been the guy, and it sucks that the hip injury happened. It sucks that everything went down the way it went. I just hope he's healthy this year and can actually sling the ball because I know he can. We know he can. He did it in Alabama. I mean, he's not stupid. He can read a playbook. He can read a defense. He's accurate. He's just got to put it together.
You mentioned that Tua has no more excuses. Do you feel that he was making excuses for himself, or were you just saying that that's the fan base's point of view?
The fan base's point of view. I mean, we look at it. We saw him start a game, and then when Fitzpatrick comes in and relieves you and does a better job. 2 years ago, that was it had to be pretty embarrassing. Like, imagine doing your job, and then your boss pulling you midway through your shift and just says, "All right, Paul, this guy's coming in because he just cleans house." Right? Like we saw
Right.
Fitzpatrick do that more than just one time with Tua. And then that killed his confidence. I really do think that killed his confidence. I don't think that should have ever happened. I think you let the kid grow, and I think you let the kid get out of that
Exactly.
situation.
Right.
All you did was discourage him. And now that we have new coaching, you know, coaching matters. Like
Oh yeah.
even in the professional world, where just people like us, my leader, I just went from one leader to another leader just a couple of months ago. And I'm succeeding so much better because this leader gets me and can move me and knows what I need to do a better job. Right.
Right. Right.
So that does matter. And I didn't think that ever mattered, but now that I do, I seen it happen to myself. This can happen with a player. And we've seen it. We look at all of the quarterbacks. Sometimes they just need that right person to press the right buttons, and
Yeah.
that quarterback gets it.
When you look at the moves that Miami made this offseason, what would you give their grade for their offseason?
They shot for the moon, right? Got to go A. If you're ballsy enough to go trade for Tyreek and give him all that much money,
Yeah.
you go out there and you know who you want at your running backs. You go out and get a Chase Evans and a Mostert and a Sony Michel. It's a whole new
Mm-hmm.
backfield. You bring in Teddy Bridgewater, who's a very good, leader. He can help out Tua a ton, build that confidence back up.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you solidify the offensive line, right? You get Terran Armstead. Like that was huge. That was probably the biggest piece. I would say that's the biggest piece of them all. And Tyreek's probably the second, 2A to that, or A, whatever it is. I give it an A. They shot for the moon. Win now.
You talked about the signings with with Cedric Wilson, Terran Armstead, and then of course the trade for Tyreek Hill. Was there an offseason move, maybe a signing, a draft pick, or maybe a releasing of a player that you feel is going to have the most impact this season?
For the Miami Dolphins?
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest impact is Tyreek. Just think about what that does to the offense. It's going to leave. Waddle was already a monster, putting up those big numbers in his rookie year. Gesicki, don't forget about that. He's not a tight end. Come on, he's a receiver. He's a major player on this offense. Tyreek is just that piece, right? And I don't know what went wrong in Kansas City. I don't know why you didn't. I mean, we're not talking about Kansas City, but how did you let that piece go? He's a difference maker,
Yeah.
and it's just gonna it's just gonna free up so much space. He's the biggest piece.
A receiver like Tyreek, I mean, we've seen the money that receivers are getting this offseason, but when you look at a team like Miami, I don't know, do you feel like it's wise to invest that much money into a receiver when you still have questions at quarterback?
Yeah, but you have to get the receiver to possibly make the quarterback. Look at Josh Allen before Stephon Diggs. He was
Right.
good. He was good.
Yeah.
But give him that piece. Give him Stephon Diggs. What happened? He blew. He went crazy. He went out of the water. Look what the Jets are doing with Zach Wilson. You're surrounding him. So surround your quarterback. Give the quarterback the tools to be good. You can't expect him like Justin Fields over there in Chicago to play with Mooney and that's it. Like, yeah, there's Cole Kmet, there's some pieces over there, but they did the total opposite. They don't have an Aaron Rodgers who Rodgers can make somebody. He's a guy that can't. Tua's not that caliber. Neither is Fields. Neither is Zach Wilson. They're smart. Surround them.
Yeah,
things will flourish.
You mentioned Waddle with the kind of season that he had last year, and of course we know that with the type of player that Tyreek is. Are you worried that their skill sets will kind of cancel each other out in this offense?
I talked about this on my show actually 2 days ago, and I said, Waddle demanded 142 targets. The second best receiver on that team with target wise was Devontae Parker at 75. Tyreek averages 135 targets a year. Where are these targets coming from? Gesicki averages 110 targets. Where all of a sudden Tua is going to throw the ball 450, 600, whatever amount, 600 times? There's no way. That's not the offense they're going to run. I am afraid that Tyreek will cancel Waddle out. They're going to get the ball to Tyreek. What's Waddle going to become? Is he just a bubble screen guy? Is he going to be? I'm just worried about that side. Whereas in fantasy purposes, which one do I want?
Yeah,
because they're both not. They might. We talk about Higgins, Chase, both top 12. Godwin, Evans can do it. Are these guys? These guys can't do it. I think they're both wide receiver twos. They're both going to put up like 1,000 yards, maybe 1,100 yards, but the target share is not going to be there.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how that runs because McDaniel coming from the Shanahan offense, of course, we know that San Francisco has been kind of more of a run-heavy, really efficient offense. So he's probably taking a little bit of that with him. But you're still excited about this offense overall. It'll be interesting to see because they've adjusted a lot of needs on offense, and that you go out and get a Tyreek Hill, and we saw what they had in Waddle, and of course you mentioned Gesicki, and then they bring in Cedric Wilson. They adjust the offensive line. I feel like they will obviously try to throw the ball more, but like you said, to throw it 450 or even 600 times, that seems like a bit of a stretch,
especially for someone like Tua. And when they want to, I feel like they want to slow the pace down, play some good defense because they do have a good defense. They have a great defense actually. Slow it down. Use Michelle. Use Edmonds because I think Michelle's going to have a huge impact on this offense as well. We saw it last year with the Rams. When he got an opportunity, he played well. They're not going to be some flashy throwing deep like Mahomes did with Kansas City. They're not going to be doing that. They'll be doing, Gesicki down the seam, Waddle with the screens. Yeah, they'll try some deep balls. Tua was very good on the deep balls last year, but he didn't throw many. I think his accuracy is so good on the deep ball because he threw like the fewest. So, of course, your accuracy is going to be a little bit better. I just don't know. Can they all just coexist? Like, what's going to happen when Tyreek doesn't get 8 targets or 9 targets and Waddle's over here getting 12? Is Tyreek going to throw a fit? What's going to happen when they ask Gesicki to block? Because that dude doesn't block. Kittle was huge in the blocking game for San Francisco. What's going to happen there? So it's just a lot of new. And sometimes when we see new, even though they look like they're all stars, like, oh, these guys are going to be awesome together. Sometimes it takes a couple. I mean, look at Dallas, right? They added all these pieces. It just
Yeah.
didn't work out. And I noticed you are a Dallas fan, so I didn't mean
Yes,
to.
sir.
I didn't mean to stab you on that.
No worries.
Sidetrack. My Scott Fishbowl team, ultimate mega stack. I got Dak, Zeke, Lamb, Schultz. I almost got Pollard, but somebody snaked me. I was just going all Dallas.
Hey, not a bad move. That's it. That can be some weeks you're going to be hit or miss, obviously, but I like that, man. I like that confidence.
Mega stack. It was awesome.
So, we know about the pieces that Miami is surrounded with too, and that you would think that maybe they believe in him, but is it now or never for Tua? Do you think that he is the quarterback of the future?
I have a feeling that they were trying to trade him or move on from him, but that was the previous. That was Flores, I think.
Yeah.
So I think that McDaniel's going to come in, give him at least 2 years, see what he can do, because it'd be unfair for him to get rid of him right this season, right? Like, it would be totally unfair. Why wouldn't he get 2 years with McDaniel's in this new offense? I do think, but it's going to be hard to pass on a quarterback if they suck, if they're not good, and they have a very like top 15, top 14 pick. It's going to be hard for them to not take a quarterback, but I think they make him sit or play for another 2 years, figure it out. It's too much of an investment, right? You don't invest that high capital of quarterback and just toss him out.
And I think they're going to be too good to be picking inside the top 5 or even the top 10, right? Generally, where you get a quarterback. So they would be wise to let maybe Tua finish his contract out and see what they have, see if especially with the new coaching staff, and and if he's not the guy, then they tank for a year and get that top pick, and hopefully it'll be a quarterback rich draft.
Unless they can get a quarterback that can help them win now, kind of like how the Broncos did, or kind of like how maybe, I mean, the rumors were here. I believe these rumors. I believe before the Flores news, before all this broke, I believe Tom Brady would have been the quarterback for the Dolphins this year. I believe Sean McVay, he would have, not Sean McVay, Sean Payton would have been coaching the Dolphins this year. And I believe that's the way it was going to be set up. Yeah, I really do, because I mean, those where there's smoke, there's fire, right?
Right.
And I'm conspiracy guy. People, the real ones know this. I think Belichick found out about this and said, "Oh, I'm going to sabotage this move right now. I don't want to play against Brady twice a year." Sends a text to Brian Flores. "Oh, congratulations!" Boom. This is Game of Thrones stuff here.
Right. Nice reference there. Now that's interesting. So let me ask you: would you rather have Sean Payton and Tom Brady right now, or Tyreek Hill?
Tyreek Hill. You know why? Because I'm not a fraud.
Okay.
I'll never root for. I'm not some fraud Vikings fan that roots for Favre when he comes over. I'm not that guy. I can never root for Brady. I think Brady's the biggest scumbag in the world. I really do. I see when I see Tom Brady, I see a big picture of fraud, like Homelander from the boys. Like, that's what I see. Same thing with Gronk. I don't know, just because they beat us up for so many years, I'm tired of it. So it'd be hard for me to root for him. It'd be hard for me to put on a Brady jersey and go, yeah, that's my quarterback. Couldn't do it.
Did you already invest in a Tyreek Hill jersey?
No, the last jersey I bought, I only buy hockey jerseys now because they're useful at the hockey games. But the last jersey I bought was a Gardner Minshew Jaguar jersey.
Nice. That's a cool one.
He's the best. Like, I just love him.
Sir.
And then when he got traded to the Eagles, I said, well, I guess I got to buy an Eagles one, but they didn't sell them. So I had to buy them custom, and I'm not going to pay for a custom jersey.
Oh, I gotcha. A lot of people talk about the AFC West for fantasy, the NFC West for fantasy. But, one team that I don't really, or one division I don't really hear about is the AFC East in fantasy. I mean, are people sleeping on this division?
I think that they are worried about this division, as in Elijah Moore showed flashes for the Jets, but then they draft Garrett Wilson. They have Corey Davis still. You look at the Tyreek and Waddle situation that we already talked about. Mm-hmm. And then you look at the Patriots. Who would you draft on that team besides the running backs? And even the running backs have very low ceilings. I mean, they're going to be splitting with Stevenson and Harris. Harris doesn't catch any balls. Stevenson is iffy at best right now. We don't know if he's going to ever produce, especially with that running back carousel they always have.
Yeah.
Then you look at Buffalo. Buffalo's the hot the hotbed where Diggs, and then you got Cook, the running back.
Yeah.
People are loving him. So it's just Buffalo, Waddle, and Tyreek. That's pretty much all the draft because people are sleeping on Gesicki, and I don't know
Hmm.
why. People have Dawson Knox over Gesicki. They don't realize that Gesicki's a better receiver. He doesn't rely on touchdowns. He's going to get more targets. Like that's kind of crazy. I believe they're sleeping on Gesicki on that front. But the
Yeah.
same. Well, think about Michael Carter right over here in the Jets. And I'm sorry to cut you off, but think
No,
about
no,
that.
you're
Like
fine.
he's still a very good running back who just got unlucky because Brees Hall got drafted. Michael Carter should be drafted as a top high end handcuff, as in you always draft the Madisons, the Pollards.
Right.
He needs to be in that discussion. And not only as a handcuff, he's going to get play. It's not like he's some old 27, 28-year-old. He's a sophomore. And he was very good last year. I think he's going to get involved, and I think he's going to be a sneaky, very good running back, flow in running back too. That's possible.
Yeah, I do think the hate for Michael Carter has gone a little far, but I think people are worried that he didn't have any of his success with Zach Wilson, so that's kind of where the issue comes in. I think is for people.
I have been I have been going crazy this offseason and adding Zach Wilson everywhere and anywhere in all my dynasties. And
Rightfully
I
so.
don't I don't know why. He's my quarterback too in Scott Fishbowl. Uh, I looked at my exposure for my dynasty leagues, and he's like my highest rostered quarterback. And I
Oh
only
wow.
play super flex leagues, so I roster
Yeah.
a ton of quarterbacks, obviously. But he's cheap everywhere. You can buy him so cheap right now. People are selling him
Hmm.
for anything. Like in the draft, in a rookie draft this year, I traded a second for him. Are you kidding me?
Oh
Like,
wow.
yeah, in a super flex. Are you kidding me? Like for real? Just because you wanted whoever it was? Like that was kind of crazy. So he's been super cheap for me to pick up. So why not take him? Like I traded Justin Fields and whoever, someone good for Chase and Zach Wilson. I'll
Oh
take that all day.
dang.
I'll take that all day. You know,
Yeah.
like give me a break.
I guess
So
the answer to this question would be Josh Allen, Diggs, and every quarterback in this AFC East division, right? And maybe Brees Hall for fantasy.
so Brees Hall, what do you think about Brees? Do you think he's going to get a major workload like a Mixon or Henry, or do you think he's going to get more of a 50-50 split with Carter?
I don't. I'm mentioned. That's one storyline I'm interested to watch because a lot of people, film guys and analytics guys are saying that Brees is actually a much better receiver than Carter was. So I'm curious to see how that's going to play out here in training camp. I haven't heard a lot about Michael Carter or anybody from Jets camp except for Zach Wilson.
Think about this: there's not one clear running back in the AFC East besides Brees that you can say that's the guy. It's not Chase Evans. He's not the guy. They're James Cook and Singletary. Who's
Right.
the guy? It's such a weird division as we don't know who the guy is. Look at the Buffalo Bills on the receiver side. Like you can tell, it's Gabe Davis and Diggs. It's Waddle and
Hmm.
Tyreek. It's Moore and Garrett Wilson. Not New England though. You don't know who that is. They paid
Right.
Nelson Aguilar a ton of money. Where's he?
Yeah, you mentioned Gabe Davis. Are you buying the Gabe Davis hype?
I was 1 year too early. I
Oh, okay.
was I was driving I remember last off season, I'm posting on Twitter every day. Look at my exposure on Underdog. 88% Gabe Davis. Like I was trading for him everywhere. He's all on my best ball teams. He's on my Scott Fish. I was ahead of the time. And
Yeah,
oh boy, did
I've
I
been
give
there.
up. Did I give up? I drove that bandwagon into the lake and I said bye. I said goodbye. And then he blows up in the playoffs and in that last game. And I'm like, well, he won me some best balls. So thank you. Appreciate you. I won a lot of money on Underdog because of him. But as far as my dynasty, I kind of cut ties. I didn't want him anymore
Oh, yeah.
because you couldn't beat out Emmanuel Sanders all season. You couldn't beat out Cole Beasley. I'm not saying that he's competing with them, but the dude only gets like 60 targets a year, which is he's only played 2 years. His game where he blew up, he was open versus air. Like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, he did shooks. He played very well, but most of his production was off wide open. Like, I can catch those footballs. look, I was on him last year. I'm still going to pay for. I'm not going to pay for him this year. But if he starts falling and falling, of course I'm going to buy him in any draft. But yeah, I won't. I won't roster him anywhere. He's going too high. He's going too high. I don't. You're drafting him at a spot where you think he's going to be a high end wide receiver 2 over guys like Michael Thomas, Devonta Smith, guys that have that path. And you're drafting him because of 2 games. I can't see the logic there.
Yeah.
I just can't see it. I am a fan of him and I am a believer. I just don't want to pay up.
I'm just curious, what have you seen him go for? Because I haven't seen a lot of people trade for him. The only time last time I did see a trade was early in the offseason, and I mean he got traded for a first round pick.
Oh, I've seen a ton of those. Yeah, early in the offseason. As people get, I usually see, you see the most trades during your rookie drafts, and he was going off the board like, oh, I'll give you a first, I'll do this. So he was getting traded a ton. Now it's slowed down a little bit. People are kind of realizing, oh wait, let me chill on this guy because the potential is up there. He could, but is he really going to take targets away from Diggs? Is he really going to be the alpha there? He's that wide receiver group isn't Chase and Higgins. It's not. It's not at all. It's Diggs, and then somewhere you'll find Gabe Davis, and he'll have his games. But good luck finding those games because it's going to be Diggs.
Yeah.
Gabe
Davis. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. Like I know you have to project forward with your rankings and your projections. I get it.
Right.
But I just don't. I mean, do you see a path? Do you see a path for him to be a high-end wide receiver 2?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he was a top 20 wide receiver, but I feel like people are almost projecting him to be a borderline top 12.
Yes, and it's because of 2 games. Isn't that the craziest thing? Yeah. Isn't that the most wild thing ever? It's because of 2 games. And there's another player that we're going to talk about later that I that is because of 2 or 3 games as well. It's like, didn't you guys learn from Tyler Higbee? Didn't you learn from? I mean, you're going to learn about Rashad Penny when you draft him because of 2 games. Like, it's just whatever. He had 4, but it's just crazy. You take Michael Thomas, who's been this elite athlete his entire career. He gets 1 injury. Yes, the injury was a long time. Yes, I get it. He was upset. Yeah. I get it. But now he's fully healthy. And you're still taking Gabe Davis, who had 2 games, over Michael Thomas, who's had a career, a Hall of Fame career. He would have been on path for a Hall of Fame career if he didn't get hurt. Just because Sean Payton wanted to run the score up.
That's crazy to think about, man.
Yeah.
So, Gabe Davis, Russell Gage, Travis Etienne, Rashad Penny, guys like that, they've been getting hyped up quite a bit this offseason. But which player are you not buying the hype on this year?
Well, it's a quarterback, and I know I'm like the only one on this island.
I know who you're going to say.
It's Joe Burrow. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, okay.
Who'd you think it was?
I thought you were going to say Trey Lance.
No, I'm on Trey Lance. I love Trey Lance. I'm not like hyping him up like everyone else. I'm not like this. I just know rushing quarterbacks are going to produce, so I'm okay with Trey Lance.
Yeah.
But Joe Burrow, I don't understand. I laugh. I did like 3 startups this year. Superflex, of course. He was going quarterback 2. He was going to be the number 2 quarterback taken off the board ahead of Mahomes, ahead of her. Like, these are this is crazy. I'm like, guys, do you realize that his last 2 games he scored like 100 points? And he was below Kirk Cousins before those games. It's not like he was lighting everything on fire the whole season. It's not like he was amazing. He was average. And then those last 2 games, he little 3-yard passes to Chase, and Chase did what he did. Yes, those count. I get it. But come on, guys. And plus, the pace of offense, they're super slow. I think second to last in plays run last year. They're going to run the ball a lot more with Mixon. Joe Burrow doesn't get the rushing upside. I just don't see how you could take him over guys like Lamar, Kyler, Mahomes. Yeah. Like, I just don't understand what's happening just because of the playoff run. That's what it was. That's what it is. And I just don't – I see him coming back down to reality where he's just a 10th, 11th, 12th quarterback. You could have got him way later, but you're drafting him in the 4th, 6th round. 4th and 6th rounds where he's going. That's crazy. I mean,
I don't know a lot of people talk about Joe Burrow that way, but yeah, I do think the hype has gotten a little bit too far. However, I do like that offense quite a bit.
no, I love the offense. I really do. But I love Kirk Cousins' offense with Jefferson and Thielen. But I'm
Exactly.
not drafting
Yeah.
him in the fourth round. I love Stafford's offense with Allen Robinson and Cooper Kupp. I'm not drafting him in the fourth round. So I mean, if you give me the choice between in redraft Stafford and Burrow, I think I'm taking Stafford because he's got. I just think he's a better quarterback overall. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm totally wrong on this, and I have been. Hell, last year
Yeah.
I wrote an article saying Josh Allen's going to be a bust. You know,
Oh Lord.
Well,
What would led to that?
I said that because he was being drafted in the second round in one quarterback leagues. And I said, guys, chill out.
Oh,
He's going to
holy
regress
cow.
majorly. At the time I
Yeah.
wrote it, his ADP was in the second round. I was like, guys, chill out. Like he's still going to be a top 4 quarterback, but you're drafting him super high where you can get this player and then you can get a Dak Prescott later. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
That was my whole point, and then people tore me apart. It happens.
Well, I know you're not buying the Joe Burrow hype. Is there somebody is there a player that people are sleeping on in fantasy that you don't understand why?
This was one of the hardest things to think about because I haven't really dwelled into the whole sleeper or this guy's ADP is too low. If I had to say one, it'd be Gesicki for the Dolphins. He's being drafted as a tight end 13 right now. Way too low. Like I said, below Dawson Knox. I mean, he's basically, we talked about it. He's a wide receiver that plays tight end. He's with McDaniels the way he used Kittle. Imagine Gesicki used like that. I'm not saying he is Kittle because he's not. Kittle's a way better athlete, but just imagine being used in the red zone more, being used down the seam more. I think he could be a top 5 tight end if he gets the opportunities, especially if McDaniels uses him like they use Kittle. Another guy is, Ramondre Stevenson. He's actually rising. All the camp reports like he is rising. I'm in one keeper league, and I drafted him in the 12th round last year, and I can keep him in the 11th. So I'm pretty hyped about that. He's my keeper, so I'm pretty hyped about that. Just those two guys. But I got to think about that one a little bit more. The ADP is going to fluctuate so much.
Right.
And Michael Thomas, I could have said him. Hell, I've been touting. If you follow me on Twitter, I'm all over the slant god. I love this guy. And then people post a video of him dancing today, and I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. Now he's about to skyrocket. I'm not going to get him as wide receiver 4 like I wanted to. I love Michael.
He might jump back up to like second round pick by redraft season.
Oh yeah, well he's definitely going to be a wide receiver 2. He has to be. Him being drafted as a wide receiver 3 or 4 is criminal. Imagine that.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I know he hasn't played in almost 2 years, but if he put up 80 receptions, 1,000 yards, and like 6 TDs, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
So I was listening to the XM radio on my little drive to the store, and I hear Jameis man, we're back. We couldn't play football last year. Me and Michael Thomas, we can't wait to play football. And I'm in Tampa, so I've heard Jameis all my freaking forever. Jameis won't leave us.
Yeah.
Jameis, he leaves, but he doesn't leave because now he's in New Orleans. So people call the local radio station up. Oh, Jameis this, Jameis that. So he just doesn't leave Tampa's head. But he hyped me up about Michael Thomas a couple days ago, and I'm like, let's go, baby. So I went on my little iPhone. I looked at my little dynasty leagues. I'm like, I sent out 20 trades for Michael Thomas. Like, I got to get him back. Man. I'm so hyped for him. I hope he does well. All the hate he was taking.
Right. New Orleans is a sneaky good team to invest in for fantasy this year.
What do you think about Olave, though? Do you think he's going to get any play now that Jarvis is there?
Yeah, I mean, I've drafted him in so many best balls this year, but yeah, I think he could. I wouldn't be surprised if he was rookie of the year.
Wow. I'm trying to wrap my head around that. I'm trying to literally wrap my head around that because I was thinking that on the way here today. Who could it be? Because you're right. Like, there's no clear cut. There's no quarterback that could win it. Like, there's no Kyler Murray. There's no stud out there because who knows if Pickett's going to be good. Is it going to be a receiver this year? Is it going to be Breece Hall this year? And this is a weird year.
Chris Olave would be my two guesses.
If I had to put a number, if I had to place a bet, it would probably be Brees Hall because I think he's had the best path. He's going to get all the touches. Olave could be schemed out of a game because Michael Thomas and Jarvis could take over. Olave just doesn't get the playbook. Who knows? Receivers are very tough for me to evaluate their first year. I usually like to wait the second year. Yes.
Yeah. All right, so here we are with keep, trade, cut, Josh. I try to make this hard for you. We'll see how difficult it really was. But keep, trade, cut, you got to choose between fantasy, Tampa Bay Lightning, and wrestling. Who are you keeping? Who are you trading? And who are you cutting?
This is so hard. This is so hard because this is like the major three things I care about, right?
Right.
I grew up with wrestling. So, okay, let's do a timeline. What came first in my life? Wrestling. Wrestling came first in my life. I watched that over Monday Night Football many times. My dad was not happy with me. Fantasy came around when high school, 14 years old. 14 was my first year I commissioned a league over on ESPN. I had to buy the little stat tracker. God, they used to charge us for that. And then Lightning, gosh. I remember going to the Lightning before they were good. I was 15. My cousin would take us. And after puck drop, if you're there still at the box office, they sold you tickets for $5.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So we would wait till puck drop.
Nice.
And then we would buy the tickets. And guess where the tickets always were? 6 rows from the glass because we sucked. You had to pay people to go to this game. So that's why we went, because we were teenagers. We had nothing else to do. So,
right.
God, this is hard. All right. So I'm keeping wrestling because when I was a child, most people grow up wanting to hit the game-winning home run or catch the game-winning pass or throw it. I always wanted to be a wrestler. I always tell people, if I could do anything in the world, I'd be a professional wrestler. I'd be a heel. I'd be a coward. I'd be Chris Jericho if I was a professional wrestler. I would trade the Lightning because they have the most value. They're the best franchise in all of sports. I guess I'm cutting fantasy.
Holy cow. Talk about being a fraud.
I guess I'm cutting. You know why I'm cutting fantasy? You know why? Because I don't care if the Lightning win or lose. I really don't. I'm just there to have fun. I just like to support them. I love the franchise. I love the ownership. If I lose fantasy and it's to my friend, I still get angry. It still ruins my day. Every week every Sunday, I watch Red Zone with all my friends and we all drink beer and I'm the only guy not looking at my phone, because if I look at my phone and I see that I'm down by 50 points, the day's ruined. I really do get mad. And it's so funny because I play in 30 leagues, and if I'm losing a league, odds are I'm losing a league. So
yeah,
it's the only thing that actually makes me mad.
And you know what? I like that logic there, man. I really do.
Yeah. So.
So, Josh, I mentioned that you're a wrestling aficionado, so I thought this would be kind of fun to do a little comparison here. We're going to compare some NFL players to wrestlers who are dead or alive. I feel like I gave you some pretty fun names to choose from. We're going to start off with quarterback. We're going to go with Mr. Patrick Mahomes. Who's your wrestling comp for Mr. Patrick Mahomes?
So these were very hard. One was easy, but this was very hard because you got to think about the personalities. You got to think about where they are in the NFL, where the wrestlers are in their. So with Mahomes, I went Seth Rollins.
Okay.
Here's why. Because, and I went by not their character, not like, oh, he's a heel, so whatever. I went by, he's probably the best wrestler in the world right now. He probably is. I would say so. His gimmick is awesome. He's always there. He's a locker room leader. He's still young, but he doesn't like. So now people are all on Josh Allen, like, oh, he's this Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. That's more of the Roman Reigns and the other guys. But Seth Rollins is always there, night in, night out, putting up great matches. And I feel like that's Mahomes. I think he's getting disrespected.
Okay.
I feel like he's getting big time disrespected right now, and I don't understand why. But he's still the best quarterback in the NFL right now, besides Aaron Rodgers, my love, the love of my life. Yeah. But Seth Rollins, that's my guy, is because he's the piece. He's the major piece of WWE. I think he is the guy, and I think Mahomes is the piece for the NFL. I think if the NFL needs a spokesman or a face, it's Mahomes. And I think the WWE needs a face. It's Seth Rollins.
Okay, I like that. Well, okay, so here we are, running back. What? And I gave you Mr. Christian McCaffrey. Who's your wrestling comp for CMC?
So, sorry, I don't mean to offend you, but are you a wrestling? Do you watch wrestling, or
I
did you
haven't
used
watched
to?
wrestling since I used to until about my freshman year in high school.
Okay, so CMC is probably the best player running back um, in the world right now. When he's healthy, right? We could all agree with that. He's the only running back that could score you 30 points a game in fantasy and then not score a touchdown. So I'm going to go Brian Danielson because when he's healthy, he's the best technical wrestler in the world. But the problem is Brian Danielson, or Daniel Bryan as WWE people know him, he's
Oh,
always
okay.
he's always hurt. He's always on the side. Hell, he just came back from another injury last night. But when he's in there, nobody can out wrestle him. When CMC's in there, nobody can out running back him. Nobody.
Right, right.
So, but the problem is they can't they can't go a full year without just missing time, and that's why it's like the two best. They're always in the ice tub.
You know, Daniel Bryan, that's a familiar name for me. At one point, wasn't he like the most popular wrestler there was?
He's
Or like a top five guy, maybe?
no, he was because he started the Yes movement, the Yes, Yes, and then like he took on Triple H, and yeah, he was big. He was huge. He
Yes.
still is
Yeah.
big, and he went to AEW now. His
Okay.
so he was Brian Danielson before WWE. They got him. They changed his name to Daniel Bryan, and then he left WWE and went to AEW. And now he's back to Brian Danielson, and now he's
Okay.
wrestling because WWE holds their guys back, and you can't do this move, you can't do that. Now he's just on top of the world. Like you can't do a pile driver in WWE. You can't do certain moves.
Oh,
Or you can't do
really?
certain. Yeah. Where in AEW it's more not choreographed. It's less of a dance. It's more of two guys just going at it.
Okay.
Whereas in WWE, it's you can tell they're waiting for the moves. In AEW, it's just do slam. Like they're just nonstop. It's crazy. You got to watch AEW one night. It's just
Yeah, I'll have to do
insane.
that. It
And
sounds fun.
definitely it is.
Am I a fraud for liking the name Daniel Bryan more than Brian Danielson?
You're just not used to it. But yes, you are a fraud.
So here, a wide receiver. I'm really curious about this one. I went with Tyreek Hill. There's a name I have in mind, but again, like I said, I haven't watched wrestling since I was, a freshman in high school. That's quite a long time. But wide receiver Tyreek Hill. What choose your comp for him?
See, you're not gonna get this guy because you don't watch AEW, and I picked all current guys.
Okay,
So,
okay.
and I'm sorry, but I want to hear your guy after mine, Sammy Guevara. If anyone watching this or knows Sammy Guevara, he is a wild man in AEW. He does crazy things. He's young. He's fast. He's like he's got that superstar look. You just look
Mm-hmm.
at him and you go, his nickname is the Spanish God, the sex
Oh,
Spanish.
okay.
Yeah, like he's like, I'm a sexy Spanish God. Like I got this hot girlfriend. Like that's his gimmick, and he lives it. He lives the gimmick. Like he's just he does. He's like, remember Jeff Hardy? He used to get on the ladder and just jump off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sammy Guevara gets on top of 3 ladders, does this. I'm fucking crazy. Sorry for cussing. And then does a flip off. He doesn't just fall off. He like flips everywhere. So like just the dynamic nature of Sammy Guevara, the dynamic nature of Tyreek Hill. That's why I put those guys together. They're just, you don't know what they're going to do next. Sammy Guevara in a wrestling match, if he could give the peace sign as he's doing a move, he would.
So my guy was Rey Mysterio. Kind of sounds like maybe the style might be similar when you're talking about the flips, being fast, athletic. You not really know what they're going to do next.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio just celebrated his 20th year in wrestling on WWE
Oh,
Monday night.
wow.
Yeah, he still
That's
wrestles.
amazing, dude.
Him and his son wrestle together. They're a tag team.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
How's his son?
not good.
Oh,
Got a
really?
lot of work. He's young. He's only been in it for 4 years. I want to say he's just a little slow,
Mm-hmm.
but he's gonna get there. I can see the potential. He's young. It's so
And what
funny
about Ray?
because Ray's awesome. Ray's just a legend. I love Ray. He's a little bit bigger now, a little bit older, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
It's just funny. Dominic is his name. Dominic towers over him. Their entrance is he piggybacks his dad to the ring.
I like that. That's funny.
That is funny.
But that's cool that Rey Mysterio's still in it, man. I like to hear that. And here we are. Our last guy is going to be tight end Kyle Pitts. This is interesting because I feel you said you did an all current one, so I'm not going to know who the guy is. But
You're not, and that sucks. But
that does suck.
his name is Austin Theory, and he is a young stud, Vince McMahon's like pet toy. Although Vince just retired,
Yeah.
Austin Theory's the new hotness in wrestling. As in, he is going to be the new face. He's going to be the John Cena of WWE in the next 5 years. He just won. I say this. He just won Money in the Bank, which means if you win Money in the Bank, you can cash in on your WWE Championship anytime you want. Like that's how. And he's the youngest one to ever win that briefcase, that little title.
Yeah.
They're pushing him to the moon, and I think that's Kyle Pitts. He's the future. He's the future of how a tight end is going to be. He's the future of the NFL. Like just athletic freak, could do anything. Story here, I didn't believe in him. I didn't think he was going to be this good. Not because I didn't believe in him. I didn't believe in that offense. I didn't think that was a good spot for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to admit I was wrong. They used him very well. I wish they used him more, score a little bit more touchdowns.
Yeah.
But come on, when you're the only target out there, it's kind of not fair. I was hoping that Ridley would be back this year, but he got caught using the Hard Rock app here in Florida. Are you allowed to gamble over there where you are?
I can do best ball, but I can't do like DraftKings where I can bet on games like over unders and things like that.
We had the Hard Rock Casino app for a good 3 months last year, and it was awesome. And then the government shut it down because apparently it was a monopoly with the Hard Rock Casino. So therefore we couldn't get any more. But that's the app that Calvin Ridley got busted.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's like, come on, Ridley, you screwed it up for all of us. We're having fun. I love live betting was the best. I'm like, oh crap, Tom Brady just threw another pick. I'm betting the Bucks. They're coming back. I'm like, all right. I miss it. I wish I lived in a state that could bet.
That's crazy to think you can bet on a game just at any point in live betting, in game betting.
Yes. Live betting's fun, man. Live betting, I mean, I don't know if you've been in a state where you can do it, but gosh, it's so much fun. Just the adrenaline, just the holy crap, they're down by 14 in the second quarter. All right, I think they're coming back. Boom, place that bet, and they do. Like, oh, what? I love it.
Mm-hmm. That would be fun. All right, Josh, here we are with our next topic, and it's crazy or calculated. And in this segment here, I share a thought or prediction with you, and you tell me if I'm crazy or calculated. So my thought here is that Tua will be a top 12 fantasy QB in 2022. Am I crazy or am I calculated?
You're crazy. You're crazy. There's too many, man. Think about the guys coming back. Lamar coming back. Russell Wilson coming back.
Yeah.
There's just too many guys.
Okay, but think about it, though. You got Russell Wilson, Lamar, Josh Allen, and Dak Prescott, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then who else do you feel like is cemented as a QB1?
Tom Brady, I'd put in there. I'd put in Jalen Hurts. I'd throw in there just because of the rushing ability.
Yes, Jalen Hurts.
I'd throw in Jalen Hurts. Did you name Herbert? I don't think you named Herbert.
Justin Herbert? No, I did not.
Did you name Mahomes? I don't think you named Mahomes.
Oh,
there's just
some big boys.
There's just so many. We could see a scenario where Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback 14 because there's too many good ones.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers will be top 12 for sure this year.
I don't think he will. I have him outside of my top 12 right now. I really do. It's hard to do that because he is so good, and I just love that guy so much. I think he's my favorite NFL player of all time.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I really do. And my good friends really know that, and they always make fun of me for it. They're like, "Oh, you're growing your hair out long because Aaron is." I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And they're like, when Rodgers showed up at training camp, he's like, "Oh, I know what Josh is going to be. Josh is going to be Aaron Rodgers' version of Nicolas Cage." I'm like, "You're damn right I am." I just love Aaron Rodgers, but I could see a spot where he's up.
Josh, I think we lost you, brother. Are you still with us?